Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, today I'm going to work on some gas tank brackets for the RM250. I had a friend that sent me a gas tank from Texas. Thank you, James, appreciate it. He's going to show me and instruct me on how to clean it up and polish it up at a later time. But today I'm going to try to make the brackets. I'm not seeing those things out there, and it doesn't look like it's that difficult to make. I've got some aluminum and I've got some cardboard. We're going to go over and kind of map it out, and then try to cut some out on some aluminum, and then do what we got to do to get them mounted. So let's go over here and check it out. Okay, here's the tank he sent me. It's for the C2. It's a nice looking tank. Just needs a little TLC, looks like. It's 40 years old, you know. Here's what we got to do. We've got to make a bracket that'll mount right here, and then come down and have a bolt through it right here. And there should be a mirror bracket on the other side that matches up with it. Same thing. So I've got the rubbers in here. I've got two rubbers up here in front like you do on almost every gas tank. And this one also has one that comes over the tank here in the back. And that one's in place. So that should be pretty much where it needs to be. Maybe I should put the seat on just to make sure that matches up right. So I think that's probably about right. Looks like it matches up here pretty good. Got it bolted in place. So kind of the first thing we've got to do is just get us some cardboard and see if we can kind of map it out there. That's all we can do. Okay, got a piece of, I believe this is 3-inch or maybe it's 2-inch aluminum, and it's I don't know, 3/16 thick. I think that ought to do it. Got some cardboard here, my favorite kind, and I'm just going to cut a piece out, a little bigger than I probably need. And we're just gonna, it's kind of gonna fit like that, I think. I'd like to bend that a little sharper. Let me try to do that. All right. Looks like this is kind of, you've got these 2 points, and this one almost comes straight down, but not quite. So this is a lot bigger than I need. But the first thing we need to do is try to get it placed here, I think. So it's not going to move on us once we start playing with it. All right, so we've got 2 points. I've got to try to find those with an awl. Yeah, let me redo this. Okay, I got one stuck in here. And I'm not sure where the other one is. There it is, right there. And then we've got this one here. Okay, so that kind of gives us a starting point. think I want to try to make these bigger. Let me get something that I think will work. Okay, I just got a drill bit that was closer, just to kind of make sure I was not on, you know, on an edge of that, more in line with it. So let's take this off. Actually, you know, I think I'm going to take the tank off and leave that on, and that way I can look at it a little better. Okay, I've got this, got my bolts threaded in there. And this one over here, I'm just going to have to kind of, it's going to have to be a wag until I can make it so I can see it a little better. I can always change it. So I think what we'll do now is pull this off. Let me mark where I need to trim this first. We've got kind of a recessed area here. So it looks like maybe about like that. That's maybe all I need to do to trim that piece. Of course, come on across. And I think here it'll probably be kind of like this. Okay, so now let's pull this off and see if we can get some little better holes cut in it. And here we'll just, I don't know how good this is going to work, because most of the hole is, yeah, that's good. Cleans it up. Yeah, those look good. Okay, this one down here is a little bigger, 8mm, I believe. And it looks probably right for cutting. And the rest of this is just kind of like paper dolls. Never was very good at that. So that kind of looks like what we're after, I think. Oops, get it on there right. Yeah, something like that, I think. And then we'll have one the same on the other side, only we'll just use this backwards. I believe that'll work. Okay. Okay. Got this mounted back up kind of like it should be, I think. And I've got my 2 bolts in there. And that one is going to go right there. So I think that'll work. What do you guys think? The people that have them, does that look about right? I don't have anything to go on other than just trying to mount it the best I can. So I think the next thing we need to do is mark it out on some aluminum and see if we can get this to work. Okay, so this is just about the perfect size piece of stock here. And then I'm going to mark about there where I need to bend it. Okay, first thing we need to do is cut it out. Okay, I'm going to try to get my bend right here. Okay, I hope it's right. I was off a little bit on my bend, but I think I can get out of it without getting a red face, maybe. Just compensate. You can see here that I was a little wide down here on this end. This side was okay. So that I think all I need to do is move that hole down a little bit, and that's kind of proofing out what I'm thinking. So let me go over and drill it. Okay, let me take that over and see if that part's going to work. Okay, I'm off just a little bit, so I just need to move this hole in a little bit. That's kind of how stuff works sometimes. Yeah, kind of wished it hadn't jumped on me, but I think that'll do it. I think these probably are supposed to have rubber grommets in them, so I'm going to have to figure that out. I can't believe you would just use a hard mount. I'm sure there's got to be some cushioning involved somewhere. Need a little bigger hole. I put a 5/16 hole in there. This is an 8mm bolt, so I'm going to have to drill that out just a little bit. But it looks like it's centered. So let me go see if I can drill that a little bigger. Okay, it fits in there pretty good. It can use some trimming. It's probably a little bit. Comes down a little bit too far probably, so I can probably come up here and trim it a little bit, and maybe right here on this corner I can sand that off a little bit more. But let me go check the IPB on it and see what else is required up there. Okay, they do get cushions, and I thought I probably had some of those, but they're different than the normal ones I've been using on the trail bikes. So they do have the spacers and they have the cushions. So that means I'll have to drill these holes up here bigger. And it may be that this one is going to be off a little bit. So I'm going to stop here on that until I get those in, so I can see if my the one that I've made already is going to work. If not, I'll have to lower that hole a little bit probably. To compensate for the thickness of the rubber on the backside. But they had all that in stock, and I think, let me see, I've got the chain back here. We had that, and remember we made the spacers. Looks like everything is a-okay for alignment on the sprockets, so that should be good. I've got it pulled tight so it should show it, and everything looks just straight up the rails, so I think we're good on that. And the next thing in this area I'm going to have to start doing is working on the engine itself. I'm going to have to split this one because the rod is bad on it, so we're going to have to do that. I've still got some engine parts I'll have to get, and of course we don't know what we're going to find in here. Hopefully it's just going to be bearings and that sort of thing, but you know, these were race bikes and a lot of them were run pretty hard, so we might find some gear problems or something like that. But I ordered a set of covers, fenders from Vintage Suzuki. So those I think will be here on Monday. and I went ahead and ordered all the stuff to attach them with. I hope. You know, I try to do stuff like that, and of course, at the end of the day, you don't have everything you need. But looked like Rocky Mountain had everything that I needed for all that, for the fender mount on the front. I carry all my own hardware for the most part because I can buy it a lot cheaper through places like Bolt Depot and a couple other places that I get stuff from. You can get it a lot cheaper from them than you can from Suzuki. Although I will say there are some things, when I go to my local hardware store, they might get $4 for a nut, and I can buy it from Suzuki for maybe $1.87 or something. I ran into a deal like that the other day, so I just ordered a few of those because you know, it's something I'm probably going to use. Okay guys, this is some stuff coming up too. I picked up this cylinder, and this I believe is a C2 cylinder. It's got the slots here, and it's got the rubber dampeners that don't go in the groove. They're just little round gizmos there. I'm hoping this is. The reason I want to use this one is because it's standard, and it'll clean up at first over. I've got another one, maybe even two, that will go a lot bigger than that. One of them may go a millimeter. But the problem I've got with this one is when I opened the box and saw it, and I bought it on eBay. I saw it on eBay that it still had the gasket on here, and I kind of saw some RTV, and I got to looking at it, and I go, oh, I don't know. So I went ahead and bought it, and when I got it home, I scraped the gasket off, and lo and behold, I've got some guy that used a crowbar to take this off, and I've got a big divot right here, and another one right here that goes, there's just a little bit right here. It might seal, but it probably won't, and that's why he had all the RTV, and I think he even had two gaskets on it. So I'll be, I think, welding these up right here and right here. I think that'll do it on this one. But wait, there's more. On the exhaust side, I've got a big divot right here and right here, and a big low spot right here. And of course you can see how this is all chewed off here, and this kind of falls off to the edge. This out here is a lot lower than it is here. Let me see if I can kind of show that. Yeah, so you can see there, I think. But these low spots, you know, the exhaust isn't that big a deal, but since you're already doing it, and it really needs to have helicoils put in too. These threads probably wouldn't last very long. And then we get to the intake. Lo and behold, he didn't put the crowbar down. It's still out. And I've got a big gap right there. You can see, I think. So, some point in the future, I'm going to weld this up. It'll be probably just right here in this area. And here, 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 maybe along here, probably just as well. And here and here. Then I'm going to have to set this up in the Bridgeport, and we'll be cutting this back down flush so that it will seal. And the same with the intake. The intake will be a little easier because it's straight up and down. This one here, I'm going to have to figure out the angle on it, and probably angle the head of the Bridgeport. And I think what I'll be able to do is use a plate, an angle plate like this, and I can mount this in just about any position I want. But I've got a compound angle here that's going to be like this. So I'm not sure, it's just going to take some work to get this to work for me. And I'll be able to do the same for the intake on the angle plate. But for doing this, I'm going to have to set this up in a, forget the name of it. It's just a plate that goes on the lathe. And I'm going to have to turn, get it really nice and square and turn it and trim these areas off. So it's, you're not going to want to take any extra material off, but at least you'll have it filled in enough to where at the worst you might have to put a little JB weld, and you could do that with this. You could put JB weld in these two spots, but I've got enough welding to do on this, and this stuff should weld okay. It's not magnesium, it's just probably junk aluminum, but I'm just amazed at the amount of adversity sometimes that comes from buying these parts, and you just about have to rework everything. This is, if this was not a standard cylinder right now, I don't think I would mess with it. But you're just not going to find too many standards out there this far along. So we'll be working on this in the future. There's just some people just should not be trusted with crowbars and screwdrivers and welders. Just sometimes it's just beyond their capability, and this kind of shows the problems that you come up with stuff like this. It does have a little corrosion right here, but I think this is it's still going to clean up first over. Other than that, just corrosion right along here at the top. I think you can kind of see that, but I think that'll clean up no problem. And the rest of it is just in good shape. Otherwise, like I said, I wouldn't even mess with it. But I'll give them this. Probably the bolts got loose on this, and things got to shaking around, and it just wore it. But there again, you need to check your bolts. And I don't know what happened back here. I don't think this is from a screwdriver. This actually just looks like it's just eaten away. But this down here, there's no excuse for this. So there's kind of where we're at, an update on the Suzuki. I really thought I'd be able to make these, and I can, but I'm just worried about it's probably going to throw this hole off, so I'm just going to wait on that. But as far as the frame goes, I've just about got all the components. The plastic will be here, I think, Monday, and I've got to get probably some fork seals yet. Although I don't see anything leaking here, but it's just a good idea to probably go through them. I think I've got the cables that I need, and the jury's still out whether I've got all the good parts in order to make fire in this thing. I've got a couple of mags and CDI units and the CDI boxes, and I've got the head and a carburetor. And I think for the most part, I've got what I need. It's just, you know, we're kind of to the point where we're going to have to start with the engine, and we'll see where that goes. I picked up another engine the other day, just in case I need some parts on the inside. I bought it worth the money. You know, the shipping is kind of stiff, but you know, a couple $100 for another engine without, you know, just lower end isn't too bad. So that's kind of where we're at, and maybe things will come along a little bit more next week. I just didn't have much that I could do this week, and I've got to get back on the Yamaha. I've just about got a set of forks here for the 125 YZ, and everything is working pretty good with that, and I'm just adapting my AT1 CT1 brake hub with the 21-inch wheel. And I'd already done that. Otherwise, I probably would have done something else. But you can see that I've got a minimal amount of this inserting into here. But this is the one that I cleaned up. I actually milled off some of that. So I'll be using this one. And I'll just have to go in and make this a little wider right here. But other than that, I think I can get most of that. I can get a little bit more in there. But what I'm going to do is put a clamp around here, make a clamp for it, and then I'm going to drill a hole right in here and come down and bolt to it. And that'll give me the extra support that I need that I'm not going to get here. But I think it'll work okay. And I've run into some problems with this where I'm probably going to have to make a longer cable for the front brake. But other than that, I think this is going to work okay on the front. And I've got one more tube to put in from here down. So I'll be getting into that, and then we'll weld all this up and then come back in and put our gussets in. And I like that white fender on the front of this. That's just one I had. I think it's actually for a TS Suzuki, and I bought that. I was going to use it on the 75, but I found a good one for the 75 that was a Suzuki one. So I used it, and this works real good on here. And I like that, and I think I'm going to paint the rear fender white, and it's just going to be kind of a one-off thing. Okay guys, there you have it. Kind of a, you know, we worked on the brackets for the gas tank a little bit until we kind of run into. I should have looked at that before, so I could have had those on hand. But I just got the tank the first part of the week, and I thought, well, let's see if we can get some brackets made. And I think it's gonna be pretty easy. But at this point, I don't want a bunch of hogged out holes and all that. So I've got this one here that I had to hog that front hole out a little bit. So I'll probably just use it as a template and make another one, and then make one for the other side. But I'm going to wait until I get the cushions and the spacers in so I can get my distance for that lower bolt. And just a little update on the Yamaha 250 MX and on the RM Suzuki. All stuff in work. I was very unhappy about that cylinder, but I'm going to fix it. And it's just, like I said, if it wasn't a standard bore already, I probably would have sent it back. Probably what I would have done. But we're going to use it, so that'll be coming up, and that'll be some interesting machining probably. I had a lot of machine work that I needed to do for the shop, not on bikes, but kind of in support of bikes. So I did a lot of machining for that, and I didn't film any of that because it's all repetition. it's the same stuff over and over and over. I had to trim down some press plates that I had over in the press. Just never been happy with them since I got them. They were all flame cut, so I had to work on those, and it was just a little bit at a time, and had to take quite a bit off and try to get them very close to the same. I had 6 press plates of different sizes over there that I had to work on. So anyhow, we've got more coming up on the RM and the MX, and I'm probably going to get going on the at least build up the lower end of the F7 Kawasaki real soon. I've just got to kind of go over and inventory what I've got, and I think I've got to order a couple bearings, but that's probably it. So hey, thanks for going along on the ride, and we'll see you next video.